everybody. I'm very happy to be here with you today at this Creative Morning session. My name is Matthias Gotz, you already heard it. I'm an architect by education. I also participated in the ride, that's why I'm looking the way I'm looking now, a little bit wet still. And you just missed the experience if you didn't do that. Because I can talk a lot about boutique fitness studios and the experience. But we designed it for you to experience it and not to talk about it. Yeah, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about my personal journey and how I ended up designing boutique fitness studios. And the starting point is obviously that I became an architect. And the reason why I became an architect is not that profound. I decided to become an architect early on, at an early age, because everybody in my family is an architect. Like all my uncles, all my granduncles, my great-grandfather. I think 150 years ago, my great-grandfather was a master builder here in Düsseldorf of some quarters. So, okay, nothing special to that. But there was one guy, and that's my uncle, Markus Haag, who is the youngest brother of my mother, who I saw on the drawing board as a young child, and I was just like, I thought he was a cool guy, and because he was traveling the world, he was in Moria, next to Tahiti, designing buildings, and compared to the other jobs that I saw in my family, because there is also other people, I thought, that's really, really cool. And he had a very special bed that he designed himself. It looks a little bit particular, but it's actually a floating bed that he designed during his university years. And it's a floating bed, and I just couldn't believe like a regular object like a bed could be reimagined in a way that you're floating. And everybody in our family wanted to sleep once in this bed and wanted to experience it. And think about it, how often in your life you told someone that you want to experience their bed. And I'm not talking Tinder or anything. So it's just because of the design, the experience that you get by floating in this bed. And he was designing a regular family house one day, and my cousin came in. He was still very young, and he was 3-4 years old, and he didn't know that this plan was important, and he just put a circle in the middle of the plan. And my uncle, being a cool guy, he just said, well, I'm gonna put the circle into this building. I'm gonna just add this circular opening to my building. And it blew my mind that you can just, with a little circle, completely change the perspective of the people in the building, and that they have to live with this every day. And I was like, okay, that's something I want to do. So I studied architecture in Berlin, as you heard, and then I studied sustainable building in the UK, where I met Nicolas Del Rio. We were just buddies at the university, and when I came back to Berlin, someone in my TU Berlin presented his projects, and I couldn't believe that he never told me that he was such an amazing architect. And I called him up and I said, okay, I'm coming to Chile, I want to work with you. And I think here, again, it's all about experience. I don't know if you can really see what it is. It's a getaway house in the middle of the forest in Las Trancas, Chile. And it's a regular forest, but you won't experience it in a regular way when you go up into this house. You feel like you're part of the forest. Like you're walking up as if you would walk up the trunk of a tree, and then you're at eye level. Can you say that? With the forest, and I absolutely love his approach. How he he obviously also designs houses in very stunning locations, but like how he managed to bring the experience into the building and not just have a kind of regular layout. Yes, so that's why I studied architecture, because like the whole experience part was very, very interesting to me. The fact that you could design something at home and then other people are maybe happy, or they are inspired to work harder maybe because they do a ride with lights that move above them. So I think that's the base of why I became an architect. I'm also always I was always interested in the business side of things, so I founded a creative cooperative in 2009. I was working briefly on a business plan on electric mobility. I had a fashion brand for sustainable shoes, but that didn't go so well because we forgot that we need to make money with it. I produced a podcast, which is still on. It's the Elephant Podcast. It's about climate change. Kevin Caners is doing obviously the main part. We interviewed Noam Chomsky, Naomi Klein, also astronauts about this, about the climate change topic. It's still on. If you want to listen to it, I invite you to check that out. And the last years I was helping a software company develop in the development of a tool where you can do a life cycle assessment in the early design stage, which I believe is very, very important because only in the early design stage, you actually have an impact. You're still flexible enough to change your design, and you need to know in a very early stage how sustainable your building is over the whole life cycle. And then I also started investing into businesses myself. So this is, for example, Raus. I don't know if anybody had heard about Raus yet. So that's a startup that basically also provides experiences where you can go completely off-grid. They place these tiny houses in the middle of nowhere. I think they have 7 to 8 little retreats out there now. And yeah, so it's all about the experience and nature. And I'm living like this now in Spain, so I'm also living completely off-grid in nature. And so I think that's where the circle closes. So that's how I arrived to designing my first boutique fitness studio. Obviously, this was not my idea. I was called in 2015 by Gundula Köln and Viola Hutten to design a boutique fitness studio for them. And until this point, I was just designing these kind of houses that you saw in the beginning. And also we were designing the interior, but never just interior. And I never heard of a boutique fitness studio before. So I went to the fitness centers that you would know, where you pay, I don't know what you pay now, but I thought, why should I design a fitness center? It's just a storage space and then you put machines inside. But then they said, no, that's going to be a very special experience here. We want that people don't actually feel that they enter a fitness center. We want to do it differently. And therefore the name boutique fitness. And yeah, you didn't. A few of you did experience the ride, others didn't. But the idea is that you're not on your own. You're with a community. You have a teacher that really brings you to the limits, and you have a light show and like the best sound system. And I said, okay, that sounds like a good idea. I'm in. I want to design it, especially when they said we want to have all the furniture also custom designed for that. And while I was designing the first studio and then also the second, I realized that actually this used to be a bank, this used to be a post bank, and the other studio used to be a Sparkasse, that there's a lot of commercial spaces that need to close down because there are now applications that make it way more comfortable. Like, I mean, why would you go to a bank? I mean, like, especially when you think how they were designed in the 90s. So people just do it from home. And the same was true even for these big fitness centers, which are more on the not so experienced side of the spectrum. Because why would you go there? I mean, like, it's just basically really a storage space. You have all these machines. It's great if you don't have the machine at home, but I mean, like, it's not a experience. You can make it experience with your friends if you bring your friends, but the space doesn't do it for you. And the same, I mean, like, in our daily lives, what I see is all around storage spaces nowadays. We go then to a supermarket, which is also just a storage space where they just put packages for you. You take it and then you self-check out. Maybe you don't even have a conversation with anyone. And then you go maybe and buy some clothes, and that's also another storage space where they stack as many products as possible. Obviously, they calculate how much money can they make per square meter. And the problem with that is that we are human beings, like, and the space treats you like, or at least that's how I feel. If like the space treats you like a emotionless machine, then you're at some point going to feel like an emotionless machine and not human. Yeah, so I think, why am I bringing this up? I think there's a huge opportunity here for all the creative people, because I believe that in the future, commercial spaces of different kinds need to offer more creativity. They need to make the people curious, surprise them, bring people together, and otherwise they will just die. So I'm pretty sure this is going to happen, and I hope this is going to happen because, I mean, look at the cities. I'm traveling around a lot, and I sometimes forget in which city I am, because it's the same shops. Like, one concept works, they do it in every city the same way, you know it. I mean, I don't have to tell you. So I'm definitely not going in for the experience anymore. And then I better do it from home with the application, that's it. So what are we trying to do? What I said before, when we design studios, this is now the Beyond Studio in Berlin, Kreuzberg. We try to surprise you. Like, this is in a kind of in an industrial backyard, and then I love this first moment when you open the door and you have this wooden structure that almost seems a little bit like a sacred structure or something, and then people can kind of explore the space because you have this wooden parasite, I call it. Sounds a little bit negative, but we have this existing space, and we use this wooden structure to explore the space, to divide the space, and what I'm always thinking about is still like being a little child. Does this structure, whatever I design, make a kid run around and try something out, and find something interesting there? So obviously we always try to add a sustainable approach. So in this studio particularly, we basically didn't use any plasterboard anymore. Like, we reduced the plasterboard by 90% because it's all just a wooden structure. Like, even I think it's just in the wet rooms that we needed plasterboards, because obviously you don't want to have wood next to the water. But apart from that, it's all wood. Then we designed the Oer Studio in Berlin Mitte, in Torstraße. I don't know, maybe you know the location. And Oer is a meditation yoga center. It's very very spiritual. You can do sound baths there. You can do ecstatic dance. And for us, it was clear from the very beginning that when you enter that space, we definitely need to change your whole mood, because people come in stressed out from work, and they're like, okay, now I'm getting in my meditation. And we don't want that. We want that people are calming down and they're ready for it. So we have this entrance space where you basically have like they call it an oasis. I would say a green living room kind of feeling. Yeah, you feel at home, and then we have you check in, and then you have this this kind of temple gate. I mean that was a little bit the visual we had in our mind, and you enter, and then everything like the lights come down, and you're really I see it in the face when I'm there that people start relaxing, they take off their shoes, they start being quiet, and it's just I mean, like, this corridor is nothing complex, it's just a corridor in the end with lockers left and right, but it does something to the people. It changes like the whole experience of their visit to the studio. And again, if I would be a little child, I would be just running up and down and see what happens with the lights and the frames, and that's important to me. Yeah, so that's the kind of living room atmosphere. I just wanted to add this picture because you see that it's right in the city center. You have Rosenthaler Platz over there, and then you have this calm oasis. And once you come to your room where you do your meditation or yoga, I mean, this is in a cellar. This was supposed to be a storage space. We thought, okay, how can we work on that so that you don't feel like in a kind of cellar structure? And obviously, a cellar also brings you this opportunity that you feel protected, that you feel maybe like in a cave. So we gave it a little bit a cave feel. We took out all the corners. We added a dome. So that you can actually change the atmosphere, like from morning to evening or to kind of a night feel. But it's not just that, and that's why I said like all kind of creatives can work on these concepts, and that's what we do. I mean, like for example, with the lights, I always work together with Marco Riedel, who can imagine different like light scenarios that I cannot imagine, and then this starts working together. Or we were working with a company from France that is designing the Spotify for the nose. So it's kind of a device that looks like a classic radio from back in the day, and it emits odor, scent. Scent, and it has like these kind of different oils inside, and you can say, okay, I want to have now the feeling that I'm in Bali, and then you just have the flowers and whatever, like the smell as if you would be in Bali. So there's, I mean, like obviously we don't just have our eyes, we have our nose and ears. That's why we have such a good sound system here at the Oer Studio. And also because Jonas is here today. And he helped us here with the construction site. He's from Düsseldorf, an awesome architect. We really try to bring the experience to the smallest level. I don't know if anybody saw in the changing room that we have these weird hooks, but yeah. I mean, we just didn't find any hooks that would fit whatever we designed there. And then we said, okay, then we have to start designing the hooks ourselves, that the experience is complete. And yeah, that's what we did. And mainly had a lot of fun with it, right?